ladies, I'm not being mean. I'm saying this to the guys who fellas. Let me say this to you. When you've done the housework, fellas, when you've done your honeydews, when you've gone as far as you have to do, stop and think. Is there a special one here that I can show a kindness of God to? Go above and beyond the call of duty and do something. You know what we do? Well, they're not nice to me. I ain't going to be nice to them. Well, why do you think they're not nice to you? If every time I serve the ball, you hit it back in my court, I'm just going to keep hitting it back and hope that you miss. I mean, seriously, isn't that what the game's about? You know, ping pong and tennis, it's not about standing here for 2 hours. We ain't getting done. Gotcha! How many people in playing that would honestly miss the ball on purpose just so the other one can win? How many times we as a couple, as a spouse, have taken and just gone a little bit far, just so they can be happy to do something for them. Now, we think about that. We think that God has to meet our every need, and because He's not, that He's not hearing us, and something's wrong with life, and something's wrong with the world and everything else. Some people say, you're okay, it's just the world that's messed up. But look at what he says here. He said, that I may show the kindness of God unto him. And Ziba said unto the king, Jonathan hath yet a son, which is lame on his feet. Now what happened, he had a son named Mephibosheth. I'm going to get to him in just a second. But when Mephibosheth was 5 years old, and the nurse that had him heard about the death of Saul and Jonathan, his dad and granddad, she picked him up and began to run with him, and she dropped him. He fell, and he became crippled. He became lame on his feet where he couldn't walk. The only one that's left of the house of Saul. The only one left. Reduced to almost nothing. Such a great king and such a vast family. Such a vast royalty brought down to one grandson. The king said unto him, where is he? And Ziba said unto the king, behold, he is in the house of Machir. Now, Machir means a salesman. The son of Amiel. This name means my people are of God. In Lodebar. This means not a word. It means a place of no pasture, a place of no grass. Here is the grandson of one of the greatest kings that had ever lived in the history of Israel, now brought to a place called Lodebar, a place of nothing, a place called not a word. No word to describe this place. It was so bad, so low, so empty, not even grass. Then the king sent and fetched him out of the house of Machir and the son of Amiel from Lodebar. Now when Mephibosheth, the son of Jonathan. Now here's how bad it is. He's living in a land called Lodebar, and his name is Mephibosheth. The name Mephibosheth means breathing fear. Breathing shame, not fear. Breathing shame. Imagine being named breathing shame. The only thing you've got going for you, little boy, is that you're breathing. That's it. Every breath you take is shame. I don't know why he was named that, but you think of the names and how the things are done. But when Mephibosheth, the son of Jonathan, the son of Saul, was come to David, notice this. Here is the grandson of a king, the son of a prince. He comes into the presence of David, the Bible said, and he fell on his face and did reverence. When's the last time we fell down in the face of royalty? When is the last time that we've actually bowed to pray? When is the last time we've actually knelt to spend a few minutes there? The Bible says, here is a young man, a grandson. His grandfather was a king. His father was a prince. Yet, he fell on his face and did reverence to David. Why? Because when Jonathan was near the throne, when David went near the throne when Jonathan was there, because you see, Jonathan was rightful heir to the throne with Saul being the daddy. When the king died, the son took his place. That's why God got rid of Jonathan and Saul at the same time, so David could be named king. David, the Bible said, bowed 3 times to Jonathan at the throne. So now what's happening is, what David had done is being recompensed to him. Now he is being reverenced as a king by this grandson and the son of the one that he loved most. The Bible said, and David said, Mephibosheth. Now, I believe it just wasn't a thing, but David kind of looked at him and kind of like in surprise and like, Mephibosheth, you're alive. I can't believe it. I would imagine that he knew Mephibosheth when he was a baby. He was so close with Jonathan. Mephibosheth was about 5 years old when his daddy died. So he didn't understand the royalty. He didn't understand the things about living in the palace and things. He only knew about living in Lodebar, a place of no pasture, a place that no word could describe. And he answered, Behold, thy servant. David said unto him, Fear not, for I will surely show thee kindness for Jonathan thy father's sake, and will restore thee all the land of Saul thy father, and thou shalt eat bread at my table continually. Now here's a man, here's a man that is now grown, he's lame, he can't walk on his feet, he has to be carried wherever he goes, or he had to walk with crutches, he had to be helped. A lot of things he couldn't do for himself. He couldn't work, he couldn't till a garden, he couldn't go pick fruit, he couldn't do these things, so he had Ziba and his family that was working for him under this guy named Amiel that was of that household. They were taking care of him. The grandson of the king. Now he was being taken care of. And now David tells him, he said, look, from now on, you're going to eat at my table. Now you see, the reason why David was looking for someone of the house of Saul was not that he could say, well, I don't want them to have anything to do with me, and make sure that they never say around me, and I just want to make sure that they know how their grandfather or how their king hated me and tried to kill me. But I believe that this shows that David from his heart truly forgave Saul. You know, we don't know anybody. We don't know anybody personally that's ever been treated like Saul treated David. Now, a lot of us have been treated crazy and treated stupid by church-going folk. But we can't say that we were treated like Saul treated David. I mean, he tried to kill him. He wanted him destroyed. He wanted him off the face of the earth. If David could say that he forgave him, how much more should we, people that hadn't been that evil to us? You know, forgiveness is the key point in the Bible of whether you're living victorious or whether you're defeated. Now, you're either victorious in your Christian life or you're defeated. And if you're defeated, it's because there's something in your life, somewhere, somebody, something that happened that you cannot forgive. You're either blaming somebody or you're blaming God. And you don't have it in your heart to forgive. And you're miserable. And you're wondering why does this all have to happen to me? Why do I have to be the miserable one? Because you chose to be miserable. Can't blame it on me. I went to visit Brother Mike during the week, and boy, he's smiling, all excited. Oh, I'm so glad you came to see me. I said, well, I'm glad I came too. You know, I came to cheer you up, and you cheered me up. You know, it's good when you see somebody from church and they say, oh, look who's here, it's good to see you. You excited to see me? You know, it's a good thing. It's a thing that we ought to be able to get along with everybody. I think philosophy has it in the church is that we're supposed to get along with everybody except the person we're married to. Or our parents. Or our children. Why are you mad at your children? Because they act just like you.